couple days ago, I watched The Purge election year, which is the third Purge movie, and it came out in 2016. I thought it was kind of funny that it came out the summer of 2016 because it was right before the crazy presidential election. Regarding the intro of the movie, I thought it was a little funny, even though I don't think it was trying to go for that tone. It was more funny than serious to me, which is a problem if they weren't going for that, and I feel like they just weren't. I remember watching this a couple times, especially since it only came out 2 years ago, but I didn't remember at all that it was 25 years from when the Purge first started, which I think is a good and a bad thing because it's kind of realistic in the historical aspect of people finally realizing that they are using the Purge for their own benefit, but it could also be a negative because of that, if that makes sense at all to you. So again, I felt like some of the characters were a little too dramatic and the CGI wasn't the best again. But regarding the characters being over the top, I noticed that this has happened every time in each of the movies. So I really think it's a director and a writing problem instead of the actors. Again, with focusing on so many characters, it can be a little too much at times. It does add to some aspects, but it also takes away from others. I mean, I feel the same exact way about this movie as I do Anarchy. They definitely have, like I said, the same problems, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but they're very similar in positives and negatives. As I said, it had the same cinematography problem as the last two with the shaky camera, and it was so funny because this one with the shaky camera, it kind of reminded me of a Michael Bay film, and I think I mentioned that in my Anarchy review. And I noticed when the end credits were playing, he actually produced this, so I'm not that surprised anymore. I don't want this to seem completely negative because I do like the Purge series, but it just introduces too many ideas and topics and doesn't really deliver on them. It's just like, oh, here's a bunch of ideas. We're gonna do the same thing in all three movies, but not really explore that. And that's the biggest negative besides the continuous problems in all three. I really hope with the new one, since it has a new director, that it's not going to suffer from the same problems. And I also saw that they released a trailer for the Purge TV show, which I'm like, alright, the excitement's kind of dying down for me, but if this one's good, then I hope the show is good too. One last problem is the villains were really cool, but they were killed off too soon. Like, you have the group of girls who come back to one of the characters' stores since he has a little convenience store. And she tried stealing a candy bar earlier, and she comes back to kill him for disrespecting her. And I feel like she's definitely over the top, but her and her friends' costumes and just like the overall look and aesthetic of them were really cool. Same with murder tourists. They come into the country from other countries in order to purge, and I thought that was also an interesting concept, but they didn't go too far with it, and I was just disappointed. I'm still excited for the first Purge though, since it does hopefully bring a breath of fresh air with a new director.